Hello YouTube, Jared back again with another video for you. It is June already, and so it is time to check in on my progress on my project for 11 armies for 11th edition. 11th edition is finally here, and my goal is to build 11 armies in the first year of the edition. And so I now only have 1 year left to finish the project. So it is time for an update. I also want to let you know how everything went at the Warhammer Dallas Open and tell you about how I may or may not have got a free Baneblade. So stay tuned for that. Wargaming with Jared. Let's raise an army. All right, so first of all, the Dallas Warhammer Open. I entered the Hobby Challenge. We were given 3 days, but I wasn't able to go on Sunday, so I only had 2 days to design, build, and paint a diorama, and I was able to knock it out. Thankfully, I am a fast painter, and I found some bits I really like, and so the picture here, this is my diorama. It was called The Last Oration. We were given 1 miniature new in box, and so I got a librarian in Phobos armor that you can see at the top, and then I found bits to build him kind of this pulpit reliquary, and all of him and his squad are huddled together, kind of regrouping, restocking right before the planet is about to be blown to pieces. And so he is reading from his book to inspire his surviving men, and they are being hunted by Tyranids. There is one guy is stocking up on guns. There is a sniper getting ready to fight again, and then another Cadian who is having a little bit of a panic attack. And then you can just barely see it, but there's the arm of a Tyranid that tried to attack him, and it's bleeding over everything as well, too. And then they're kind of sitting in their supplies. Here's some details and close-ups of the diorama I built. I painted all of this in less than a day and a half, so really, really happy with how fast as I was able to paint in terms of getting, I guess, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if you count both Tyranids. 6 models on here, plus all the terrain, plus all the little loot piled around, and then the flag I painted in the background there, and all the little details on the reliquary. This came out really, really well, and I was able to add some effects to it. Lots of stuff on here I could have done better if I'd have slowed down and had more time, but for a 2-day build and paint, I was really happy how this came out. And I brought some magnets, and I put a magnet in the foot of the lieutenant. And so I have his base, I have a magnet on that, and he can jump off of his base onto a base with a magnet in it, and so I'll be able to use him in game. The only thing that I really regret about this is I didn't have a good color for his power sword, and so his power sword has kind of this like rusty look instead of a fire look, and so it could have been done better. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with this. And the Tyranid scheme is a dark green. I'm going to do a light green scheme on my Tyranids eventually, but it was nice to be able to use those as test models. And then I really enjoyed painting the Cadian, and then that's actually a Necromundin model, I think, from the pile of sprues they gave us. But we had 4 tables of sprues, and they were constantly adding new sprues every few hours. So we had more than enough bits to choose from. This was a really fun thing. If you ever get the option to do the Hobby Challenge at a Warhammer Open, strongly recommend it. You get to keep at least 1 miniature plus whatever you take on the table to build your diorama. You get your money back right away, and then you just get to have fun for a couple hours. And the camaraderie was a lot of fun, too. So shout out to all the other guys and gals who are building their models with me. We had a great time. So that is the update on the Hobby Challenge side. I'll tell you a little bit more later about the painting competitions. You'll have to see how that went. And then next up, though, is let's talk about how I'm doing with 11 armies for 11th edition. So if you haven't seen my previous videos, my goal is by the end of 2027, summer 2027, I want to have 11 armies at 2,000 points. And then I'm trying to spend less than $400 on an army using buying and selling and trading. I do a lot of Warhammer trading, and so I'm able to get quite a few models by trade, and then I have the Hachette magazines, and then Christmas presents and birthday presents and holiday sales. I use those too, but I'm trying to buy as few models at MSRP or even 15% off as possible. The goal is to try to get everything at least 30% off, if not better and more. And it's been nice to be able to get some lots where I've been able to sell half the lot and make back the money I spent and then keep some free miniatures. And so just about every month I've got between 20 or 30 free models in. So I have over 30,000 points of models now. And I have been able to get some good deals. So that's going pretty well. But the goal is to refurbish, to kit bash. Not a lot of it is new. About half of it is on sprue, and about half of it is definitely in need of some isopropyl to strip it. So it's a challenge in terms of saving money as much as it is to see if I can build and paint this many armies in that short of a time period. A year feels like a long time, but it goes fast, especially with a full-time job, and I have a family, and I'm trying to do grad school as well too. So I often find myself painting late into the night, sometimes while I'm listening to lectures. So couple other challenges for myself just to make this extra tricky. Like I said, trying to get discounts, trying not to do a lot of 3D printed stuff. I'm not against a few little 3D printed things or bits, but I'm trying not to do 3D printing because that makes it the challenge too easy. And then for the Astra Militarum, I do want to bring in third-party miniatures. But I've also got some old metal stuff that I kept, and then some other stuff that I've gotten in a good trade deal. And so I may not actually need very much Astra Militarum third-party, but there's a couple kits out there I really like. So I may cut myself a deal on that one. I've already kind of pre-given myself a loot hole. Now, big disclaimer, 11th edition comes out in the next week or so. They're going to change all the points. I already know this. I'm shooting for most of these armies to actually be closer to 2,400 points, just so if there's a 400 point drop, or, hopefully not, but if a couple of my miniatures get cut out of the roster somehow, I don't want to suddenly need to buy models to get back up to 2,000 points. And so the goal is over 2,000 points, so I have variety, but also so I can survive edition changes. And so I don't know what my points are going to be. I'll make a video once the points are out on how my lists did I go up or down. But I'll give you the point totals where they stand right now, end of 10th edition. And then if you could like and subscribe, it really goes a long way. This channel's still really small. It's still non-monetized. So YouTube puts ads on my videos, but I don't get $1 or a cent of it. So if my channel could grow a little bit more, I could definitely devote more time to making videos and then eventually be able to buy some nicer equipment. But it really means a lot when you do leave a comment. I enjoy reading the comments and replying when I have a chance. And then the likes and subscribes really help. So I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate those who've been following with this journey. And I'm going to keep trying to make videos, whether or not the channel grows or not. So first army up is Ultramarines, and they are complete. 2,040 points done. I've got some Vitrix that I got from the Imperium magazine lot that I bought, and then Rabute Gilliman himself. So I'm going to be adding more points to them. Those two aren't done, but this army is officially painted and based over the 2,000 point mark, and I've already made a video on that. So that's the first army checked off. Second army for the Space Marines is Black Templar. I've collected 2,330 points, and that's the Nuke Start Combat Patrol box, the old Combat Patrol box, and then just a couple other miniatures that I picked up at a deal. And so that's really fun. I also bought the John Blanche paint set, and I wanted to do a John Blanche painting challenge. And so I'm going to try to paint the whole army in only the army painter John Blanche paints from his first box. And I was really sad to hear that he recently passed away. And so I don't want to monetize or take advantage of his passing in any way, shape, or form. But at the same time, I've always been so inspired by him. And if I can paint the Black Templars kind of in his scheme, it's one of the things that got me into Warhammer was his beautiful artwork. And so I feel like that would be a good way to honor his memory and his inspiration. I definitely won't be able to do it justice, but it will be fun to use the official paints that kind of he worked out with that collaboration with Army Painter. So super excited about that. I'm going to start building these models very soon. So I'm hoping to make a video on that in the next couple weeks. So stay tuned on that project. Then we have Imperial Fists. There's over 1,000 points done, and 1,000 points are primed up. I'll be painting those this week. And the next week probably will be getting started. But the big problem I have right now is the leadership changes for the models. And so I don't think I need as many infantry as I thought I did, because I had too many heroes. But now that I can double heroes up into squads, I don't think I need as much infantry. So I had 20 Terminators, but I might save some of those Terminators and put them towards a different army. And then I had Assault Marines that I can probably get away with putting into a different army as well. So I'm going to take some of the points back out of this army because I haven't painted it yet. But what's painted yellow is staying yellow, but I may move some stuff over. And the reason is I want to build some 100 point or 1,000 point armies. So the 3 Space Marine armies that'll be the big ones will be Black Templar, Ultramarines, and Imperial Fist, my 3 favorite. But I have a soft spot for the Raven Guard, the Blood Angels, the Salamanders, and the White Scars, and I have a lot of models that fit into those categories. So I have a couple Blood Angel looking things. My wife loves Raven Guard. I love Raven Guard. I got some Phobos stuff, and then the big Storm Raven that I want to build into a Raven Guard. And then I have so many Outriders, it makes sense to build some White Scars. So the goal is to get 1 or 2 heroes for each armies. I've already gotten the Grim, that guy right there you see on screen. And then I got 1 Salamander guy as well. I want to grab some more of the Infernus Marines while they're cheap, and then just put these little armies together. These will be little taster armies that I'll throw together. Now, someday I want to do the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves. I love them both, but they have so many of their own models that you can't really build them and do them justice with generic Marines. And so these are going to be more the generic Marine armies. I want to have some variety. I want to paint some schemes that aren't blue, yellow, or black. Raven Guard's also black. But I think these will be kind of fun little projects and a good way to use up some of the stuff I have. I have, ironically, the picture of my stack of rhinos. Ironically, though, I say, because most of those rhinos are going to go to my Chaos Army. But I do have quite a few Space Marine models, most of them in kind of rough shape, that I'm planning to kind of kit bash into these. So this will be a way to use up extra Space Marines, less so going out and buying kits new. This is just a way to kind of use up the Space Marines you get. And then if I do get the launch box eventually, that'll give me a ton of models that can kind of bleed into these armies. A lot of the stuff really works well in Blood Angels and White Scars. And so in theory, hypothetically, split the launch box into Blood Angels and White Scars, and that'll be a lot of fun. And this brings us to Astra Militarum. So I already have 2,645 points of Astra Militarum due to a couple trades, and I haven't even got the magazine yet, which will add another 600 or 700 points. I kept a lot of Metal Catachan, and then I took the 1996, I think it was, Catachan Commander with Power Fist. This is the model I took to the painting competition. So I did get him finished on time. You can see the pictures I took of him. Got him based, got a lot of details on him, some shading. I actually painted the eyeballs, which I don't always do. And that went really, really well. So I'll show you in a second what prize I got. But I was really happy about him. And then I entered a contest, a trivia contest, and the prize wound up being a Warhammer model of my choice, and I chose a Baneblade. And so I actually got a free Baneblade. And so I am over the moon excited about that. I never thought in a million years I'd ever get a Baneblade. And so I am sitting on this box in shock. I cannot wait to build a Baneblade and have that be the center of my army. And then when I was at the Warhammer Open, you get a little $10 credit. So I put it towards Yarrick. So I got Yarrick, I got this Baneblade, and then I got all these Metal Catachan, plus a whole bunch of used Cadians that need paint stripped and rebuilt. So I am well on my way on Project Astra Militarum. This is one of the armies that I really want to take to 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 points. This is going to be one of my mega armies. I want to have 3 mega armies. This is one of them. And for the painting contest, I only got a bronze. Now, if you know Warhammer painting contests, the judges are ridiculously critical. I've seen them break out microscopes on people. So I don't enter them very often. I made a video on this. Bronze is pretty good. As far as I'm concerned, for the way I paint, bronze is fairly accurate. I don't do OSL, and I definitely don't do a lot of freehand. Though I was pretty proud of myself for painting all the little hazard stripes on this guy, because usually I don't do hazard stripes. And I did do some camo on his pants, but I think I need to learn to do a lot more freehand if I want to get up to that, at least that silver tier. And so Warhammer judges, not against the other contestants, but in terms of tiers. And so it's didn't place, bronze, silver, gold, and then you get into like best of the competition. And so got a bronze this year. Next year's goal will be to try to shoot for silver and get a little bit better at my painting. But now I know what level I'm at. Now I have a goal to shoot for. So goal for next year, next Warhammer Open, is to try to shoot for a silver. But considering I only put about 10, 15 hours into this guy at most, I'm happy at getting a bronze. So I'm excited about that. I'm a speed painter more than I am a kind of a show painter. I paint armies. I don't just paint miniatures. So this brings us to Chaos. So for the Chaos armies, I'll kind of consolidate this a little bit. I have Red Corsairs, 2,545 points are ready to go. Already painted over 900 points of that. That's going to be Huron Blackheart. But I don't have a picture of my model, but I do have a little tiny Huron Blackheart that I've shown off in other videos. He's on a little pile of skulls. So he's now the wrong base size. He's on the little base. So I got to decide what to do about him and whether or not I even want to run him. But I do have a very deep soft spot for the Red Corsairs. I want to do World Eaters. That will be at the very end of the magazine. I've got 1 or 2 models for that. And then maybe at the end of the year for Christmas, I'll ask for Angron. I did Silent King last year. So I might try to get an Angron and round out World Eaters, but that will be the last thing I paint. I will be trying to frantically finish World Eaters before June of next year to get that 11th army. So World Eaters are going to be my last army, not Tyranids, unless I get a really good Tyranid lot. I've seen a couple come by, but every single Tyranid lot is just the launch box, starter box. It's the same pile of the same models. It's so hard to find good lots for Tyranids. There's lots of bad lots out there and broken lots out there and 3D printed lots, but I just haven't seen the lot I want. And I'm not 100% convinced I really want 2,000 points of them. I haven't played them yet. I love the lictors. I got some lictors, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll talk about Tyranids later. Thousand Suns is also on my kind of mystery list. I've got a couple I picked up in a trade, and I like the look of them. And I have that 1,000 points of demons already painted for Age of Sigmar. Might try to do 1,000 points army. That brings us to the Xenos, some of my favorite factions. So first off, Tau, they're complete, 2,455 points. First army done, looking good. And I did get some Vespids in a trade with a friend, so I'm going to be adding 10 Vespids to this. But this army is rocking and rolling, and I absolutely love the Tau Ochre scheme. I am working now on my Eldari army. Don't have a picture. Video's coming soon. Be excited. That's been going really well. I'm doing the kind of bone and dark green scheme, and I really like it. The goal with this army, this is a weird army. The goal is to have between 1,000 to 1,500 points of each, and then do a Ynnari army, because I have Yvrain and the Visarch. Don't have the big Incarnate, but I do have the other 2 heroes, so I can soup them. And then there's a Harley Quinn Drukhari detachment I could run, Harley Quinn Eldari I could run, lots of variety. And so this will be 3 armies that combine to make multiple combinations, and I'm all about that. That's going to be so much fun. And so I've already got over 1,600 points painted. I'm right now negotiating, and I may try to buy some more Drukhari and get them up to 1,000 points, because right now I only have like 200 points. But it'd be really fun to have full 1,000 points of Harley Quinn's Drukhari and then 1,500 points of Eldari. That would be really fun, because then I can make a lot of different lists, and this will be a great army for list building. And then eventually add, I really want to need some more foot heroes and just some more regular standard heroes for the Eldari side. And then there's so many other models. This range is so rich in cool kits, and so that'll be fun. And that brings us to Orcs. I have 1,660 points collected. I have got 2 magazines left. It's the Boondocka Snazwagon and the Killicans. So that'll get me almost to 2,000. This is going to be at the end of summer. This will be going into fall that I'll paint these. I've got a Metal Badruck. I've got a Gazgul. I've got a Burn Obama. I've got the big truck. And I got a Super Cannon of all things. So I have tons of old stuff from previous editions. I probably will get the launch box eventually and add to this. This will be another one of my mega armies. And so eventually I want to have at least 3,000, if not 4,000 points of Orcs. Orcs is one of my biggest armies for Age of Sigmar. And so it'll be really fun to have them also be one of my biggest armies for 40k. I love the Orcs. That said, playstyle wise, I don't think I'm going to gel very well with them. I love rolling lots of dice. But they're really unpredictable, and I prefer a little more strategic, more like the Necrons. And that brings me to the Necrons, my arguably favorite army, and finally complete. So that video is coming out here in the next day or so. I've already filmed that video. I just need to edit it. But I got Necrons. I got 2,785 points. I've got the Silent King coming in there. Man, the Necrons are just such a fun army. And I've got this Imperial magazine lot that I was able to buy for a crazy good deal. So I'm going to have over 5,000 points of Necrons. I'm going to try to kit batch the heroes. It's going to be a good time. And so I'm going to be gradually adding to this army, but this is the third and biggest of my mega army lots. So Astra Militarum and Orcs, I want to take well past 3,000 points. But Necrons, I already own over 5,000 points of these guys, especially once I start kit bashing it a little bit. This is going to be my big kind of magnum opus army, I think. Never expected that, but ironically, it was my very first army, but I just really like their play style. I enjoy playing them on the table. If I do actually get out of the house to go play games, this is probably the army I'm most likely to take because I just really like me some Necrons. Then Gene Stealer Cult going really well. I had some good trade deals on that. Traded a guy who gave me a whole bunch of infantry. I got the old combat patrol on a Christmas sale. And then I haven't got the magazine yet. That'll get me close to, I want to say it's like 16 or 1700 points. Then I can get a couple more boxes. I've heard the Kill Team box kit bashes really well. And if I just buy that box and kit bash, with all the extra bits I'll easily get to 2,000 points. And so Gene Stealers is very attainable. Not sure I spelled Gene Stealers right, but I am very excited. This is another army that will be at the end of the year into next year. So the last three armies are going to be Gene Stealers, Astra Militarum because of the magazine, and then World Eaters at the very end. And so this is an army I'm waiting on, but slowly collecting it, and I'm happy where it is right now. And then last but not least, the armies that I want to take to 1,000 points. And so I got a few Adeptus Mechanicus models, and they're really cool, but my goodness, they're not worth any points. I can't imagine trying to get 2,000 points of them, but it'd be really fun to get 1,000 points. And so I may watch for a lot on them. I have a soft spot. Like I said, Tyranids I was going to take to 2,000 points, but I just haven't found the lot I like. I've got 1,385 points right now, and that's already very infantry heavy, and then kind of Lictor and Death Leaper and Biovore. So fun models, but I don't know. Eventually, that's a 2,000 point army, but I don't need 12 armies for 11th edition or 13 armies, but eventually they'll get there. And then Votann is coming in the magazine actually, I guess it's June. So this month I'll start getting Votann. And then I got some in a trade and then some mini of the month. So I have enough to make an extra 10 squad of their base infantry, but I won't have near enough points. If I find a good lot, I'll try to get them up to 1,000 points, but Votann's not a priority. I mean, I might fall in love with them. I might find a great deal on them, but I'm not taking them to 2,000 points. That's for sure. So I'm happy with them eventually being 1,000 point army. And then I'd love to do Dark Angels, and I'd love to do Space Wolf someday. I'd love to do Sister Sororitas someday, but those are all someday armies. Thousand Suns is another someday army. Plague Marines is also a someday army. Actually, forgot to put that on the list, but I did get some Plague Marines in a trade deal, and so I was looking them over, but I might eventually make them into a 1,000 point army as well too. So I'll see what happens. But I've got more than enough to paint for the next year. That's for sure. Thank you, though, again, for watching. And if you stuck with me this long, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you subscribing and interacting. Let me know what your favorite army is to paint. Let me know what armies you would want a painting in the next couple months. Like, what are you guys working on? I'm always love hearing about your projects as well, too. I love when people comment and tell me about their projects. Not just because it's interaction, but because I do genuinely enjoy hearing. So what are you painting? What are you excited to paint? Leave it in the comments. I will read it and be excited to hear what you're doing. So it is fun to hobby together, and hopefully you're enjoying some hobby while you've been listening to me talk and ramble on. But it's always fun hearing about what you guys are working on too. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. I have a couple videos coming out really soon here. Highlight of my Necron army that's finally done, and then I want to show off my Eldari paint scheme that's almost done, and then some other stuff I've got in the works. So you'll have to wait and see. The next couple projects are going to be Chaos Space Marines, Black Templars, and John Blanche paints. And then I'm going to be doing some terrain stuff for 11th edition. So definitely want you to stay tuned for that. I hope those videos are also a lot of fun for you. Thank you. Bye.